Sharkie Gamer here. So today we're going to take a look at the 3M Ergonomic Mouse for PC and Mac. So first, let's take a look at this packaging. So this is the front of the box here, and of course you can see the 3M logo, the name, an image there of the mouse itself, and down here it's kind of pointing out that it's a small version as well as the wireless version. And here it says PC and Mac USB compatible. Down the bottom here it's sort of got like an image of pointing out sort of main muscle groups, and of course here it says proven to reduce muscle strain. Turning it onto the side of the box here, it goes more into the ergonomics of the mouse, here showing kind of a picture comparison to a traditional mouse. Basically this says poor wrist position, here it says neutral wrist position, so it's better for your wrist. And of course down here it goes more into the ergonomics and how it's more ergonomic for your wrist. Turning it over, again you see another picture of the same as the front, and the other side is the same, it's just repeated over again. Turning it onto the top there though, it kind of points out the main features of the mouse, left and right click, the receiver, etc. And the bottom of the box is just a plain, it goes more into the company information. So going into the contents of this package. So first off, you of course get a manual. It sort of just goes into the basics, functions, how to connect it, etc. So very basic stuff there, and it's also in different languages as well. Next, of course, you have the mouse itself. And of course, the USB receiver. So let's go into some features. So first off, taking a look at it, you can tell it looks like a joystick. It really does. It's got the same type of handle, same type of wide base, and they've done this to make it a little bit more comfortable. So instead of going for a traditional vertical mouse design, they've made it more like a joystick, so it's more comfortable to hold. And you can really see the joystick design. You can see it kind of looks like a joystick handle there. It's got a very nice wide flat base, sort of like most joysticks do. On the bottom here, of course, you've got your normal optical sensor, your on-off switch, connect button, and of course, battery compartment. Now, they've gone with this design so that it's more comfortable to hold. So when you're using it, your hand will sit on it like this. It's quite comfortable. Your wrist is in a more neutral position, so it's not putting pressure or stress there. So you're not basically going to hurt your wrist or hand while using it. So it's going to be much more ergonomic design, and way more comfortable to use for a long period of time. Now, this thing is a wireless version of it. You can also get the wired version. The wireless version you just connect via a USB receiver. And of course it takes 2 AAA batteries down the bottom here for it to be used wirelessly. Now, if those batteries are running low, it does have an LED indicator on the side here, which of course will blink red when those batteries are running low, letting you know you should look in replacing them. Now, going into the main buttons themselves, on the top here it kind of looks like it's just got one button, but you think, okay, mice usually have one left and one right click button, so why does it have one big button? Well, essentially this button does both. So if you move it this way, it's a left click, if you move it that way, it's a right click. So it's sort of like just a rolling button that you can do with your thumb. It's very responsive. You can click them pretty fast, pretty easily. And of course on the handle here you've also got one large button here. Now that's actually a scroll button. So instead of having a scroll wheel like a traditional mouse has, this has a scroll button. So if you manage your normal mouse, it has a scroll wheel on the top. If you click down the scroll wheel, that triggers a button. Now that's the same thing as this, except to scroll you can only really do it in certain applications. So for instance, if you had a browser page opened on a web page and you press this down, a little icon will appear and you just have to move your mouse down to scroll the page down. It still works pretty well, but it'll only support applications that support that method of scrolling. So there is a downside without having a traditional scroll wheel. Now, this thing is actually a small version of the 3M Ergonomic Mouse. There is also a medium version available. So essentially it depends on what size hand you are. If you've got smaller hands, then the small version will be way more comfortable for you. If you've got larger hands, the medium one is physically larger to accommodate the larger size of hands. So you just get whichever one that you think you need based on the size of your hand. It's better this way, and that's why it's more comfortable and more it's more suited to your hand type. So overall, this is a pretty cool mouse. It's very comfortable to use, very easy. It may take a little bit to get used to, but not a huge amount. I plugged it in, and it didn't take me long at all to get the hang of it. It's actually very comfortable, like I mentioned before. It's just the way it's shaped. It kind of just fits your hand really nicely. It doesn't put any pressure on your wrist or anything like that, so it lives up to its name as an ergonomic mouse. It is a pretty cool looking thing, especially the joystick design. That's what really attracted me to get this for my collection. It just looks so unusual to have that kind of joystick-like shape. So this is not really a gaming mouse as per se, it's more of a general kind of computing mouse, an ergonomic mouse for an office or something like that. You couldn't really use it with gaming because of that single button at the top and the fact it's missing a scroll wheel. You could use it for some games, just not all of them. So things like shooters and that, you wouldn't be able to use it properly because you really need to use both those buttons. But, you know, if you wanted to do some general gaming or some casual gaming stuff, absolutely, this would be no problem with that at all. This thing is quite expensive, though, and that's probably the biggest downside of trying to find one of these. Now, if you look on eBay or somewhere like that, you'll see a ton of these listed. There are dozens upon dozens of these things listed on eBay, but they are such a ridiculous price, and it doesn't matter what you get, whether it be wireless, the wired version, small or medium, they're all just a ridiculous price. So I would say if there's anyone out there that's interested in getting one of these, whether you want it for your collection or you just want to use it if you want an ergonomic mouse, then I would say wait for one to be listed on eBay as an auction, because you find they come up a lot cheaper that way. I picked this up for just under $100, but I have seen them go between $80 to $100 if you go on auction. But definitely watch out for those buy nows because they are so expensive, and some of them are just ridiculously so. I don't think this is worth a couple of $100. I really don't. But overall, it is a pretty cool thing. It's got a really cool design. It is a very comfortable mouse, I'll have to admit that. It is a very comfortable, it's very nice to use. It's very similar to another vertical mouse, like the traditional ones, but it's a very different shape, so it does feel different when you're holding it. So it does make a bit of a difference compared to other vertical mouse. But they both have the same effect. They both are better for your wrist, better for your hand, and your overall kind of muscle position when you're using it, and that's what makes it more ergonomic. But anyway guys, thanks for watching. I am Sharkie Gamer. This was the 3M Ergonomic Mouse for PC and Mac. If you like this video, hit that like button, it helps out a heap. And don't forget to subscribe, as I'll have heaps more gaming controllers up very shortly. Thanks again for watching, guys.